Finally, I have attended a non-anime convention. This was a Comic-Con that took place in Oklahoma City, May 23rd through the 25th at the Oklahoma City Convention Center. Now, let me tell you something. This was a good time. This reinvigorated my love for attending conventions because there's definitely differences between going to a convention like this that has celebrities that you see on TV, that you see in movies, and it's just different from anime conventions where they might occasionally have some Japanese voice actors or Japanese directors, but they mostly have American voice talent that were in the dubs. But regardless, you guys know where I stand on this and you know what I like. But the point of this is that me attending this really changed the game for me. Galaxycon celebrates pop culture, sci-fi, gaming, anime, wrestling, fantasy, and of course comics. What I'm hoping everyone can get out of this video is it will provide information if this was like your first convention ever. And also, let's just say you're in my boat and you've only gone to anime conventions and now you decide to dip your toes in to something that has more pop culture, sci-fi, anime, gaming, just amalgamation of geek culture stuff. Like, what is that experience going to be like? I think that's what you're going to find out in this video, what exactly it's like. If you're new to the channel, I am Ryofu and you are watching The Gaming Harbinger. And I mainly talk about anime and gaming, and every so often we do videos such as this, conventions. If that sounds remotely intriguing to you, please consider subscribing. Oh, and one more thing before we jump into the video, I just want to say that over the course of time, I've been releasing TikToks and YouTube shorts from my footage whenever I go to a convention. But then when it comes time to make the actual YouTube video, I try to use different clips for that. So it's going to be a totally different experience. So just keep that in mind. Even if you're like, oh, I've seen all the clips from the conventions already. Well, I'm going to have different stuff in this video. I'm looking forward to having this conversation. So let's take a moment to talk about Galaxycon OKC 2025. I also want to give a shout out and thanks to Galaxycon for allowing me to have a press pass for this event. So this was a 3-day event. Unfortunately, I was only able to go for 2 days, so that was Saturday and Sunday. But let me tell you, we made it work. And I just want to say this was the first time in a long time where I really had to coordinate and think to myself, am I going to be selfish and try to get all the autographs I want, or am I going to make a conscious effort to get all the convention footage first, make that the priority? It was hard, it was challenging, but I mean, I think we made it work. So the first thing I wanted to check out was Danny Trejo's Q&A. Now this panel did not go according to plan. He ended up running 45 minutes late. However, I was a bit surprised that they still had him come out and talk to us for a few questions. For the brief time that we had him, he shared some funny stories as well as providing some solid advice. But this, by far, right here, is probably the most engaging clip.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Josh. Is there a role in your career that was more challenging or pushed you outside of your comfort zone that you didn't expect?
You know what, I gotta say, my son directed me in a movie called From the Sun. It's at the con right now. In it, I play a dad whose son is a dope fiend and dies, and he's the dope fiend and he dies, right? And I go into his hell looking for him. I get shot at, I get beat up, this whole, like his world. And it's funny because my mom always used to say when I got in trouble on the streets at night, she would wake up. She like knew it, something was wrong. And that's the way he starts the movie. And how did you know that? I heard your mom talking about it. Because he overdoses and dies, and I'm 80 miles away. I wake up, I know something's wrong, and that's that hook, and in it I cry. He made it, and so I was gonna cry like John, John, okay, we can do it, But all week he kept showing me baby pictures. Hey Dad, remember this when we were all in the pool? And remember this? And yeah. So when it came time to do the scene, we're in the middle of the desert, it's night, it's cold, and everybody's freezing. And Sasha, the little girl, I asked her, did you kill my son? And she, no, I love him, he's the only friend. And she starts crying, God, I lost it. And I was trying to hold it like John Wayne, but you know what? I got mocos, And so after they said cut, the whole crew was crying, everybody. And he goes, nice acting, Dad. I go, shut up with your pictures, punk.
So pretty much after this, we didn't go anywhere because immediately following was William Shatner. And this man did not disappoint. Maybe just at a certain point in your life, you just don't give a damn. And that's what it felt like the case was for William Shatner, because he did not pull punches when it came to talking about any of the more modern day Star Trek shows. It sounded like in the audience, most people were laughing at his comments and stuff about modern day Star Trek. But, at the end of the day, I just kind of look at it as, he was on the first show. So, I mean, he's allowed to feel this way if that's truly how he feels. But, I mean, if you enjoy the modern shows, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. Now, unfortunately, there was no way I was going to get to ask a question. But if I was able to, I would have asked him, how did you become friends with Henry Rollins?
One of the best lawyers in Los Angeles, married to a wonderful lady, who produces a show that shows you the making, like the refurbishing of a car, like taking an ordinary car and making it a race car, making it, I guess, a NASCAR, close to NASCAR. So she said, how would you like to do the show? All you got to do is come in and tell us what kind of a car you'd like to have done, and we'll do it for you. Well, I said no. I said yes. That sounds like a dream come true. I'd like to do that. And they say, what kind of a car do you want souped up? And I said, this Camaro with that hulk thing. Two people in the Camaro dealership. So the Camaro looks hulking, and I said, if you get a convertible, that would be, and fix up jazz up a Camaro convertible would be the dream. So they said, what do you want? I said, a 600 horsepower engine and modulated suspension and electronics. There were no electronics in those years. And I want this and a seat, nothing. And I just kept talking about what I wanted. 6 months goes by. I think, well, I want to be, how's my car? I'm gonna wait for them. And finally, the call comes. We've got your car. We're ready, and bring your dogs. 2 big Dobermans. So we talk a bit, and then we say, okay. Sayonara. Goodbye. We wave goodbye, start the engine, I put it in gear, and it stalls out. Look, the big captains come running, for God's sake, we got to adjust here, we got it set for a higher idling, you should be good now. And I put it in gear, and it stalls out, get on the freeway. And it stalls out. Rush hour freeway on Highway 5 in Los Angeles. 6 times in 20 miles it stalls out. The engine won't go, the thing is that, and I get my wife on the phone, tell them, and they said, I said, did you trial drive this thing? They said, no, yours is the trial drive. The windows don't work, the air conditioning doesn't work. The only thing that works is a stalled out engine. And I want to get home, and I got 2 dogs in 90-degree heat, in rush hour traffic with all that fumes coming in. My dogs, my dogs, me, and my wife. No, my wife, me, and my dog. No, my wife, my dogs, and me. And it was, we were so close to dying, and people were honking, what's that fool doing? Have you seen those fools on the road? One of them was me.
Now after this, I had a little bit of time, and so I decided to go down to the dealer's room. And let me tell you guys something. We'll start here with the dealer's room. The dealer's room, so much potential. So much potential. Like, it can be even bigger. It's so spacious. It's massive. And I just can't wait for the growth of this convention to just take off. And there's still going to be room. Like, this place is perfect. It really is. Because they could have double the amount of people attend, and it still would be big enough to handle that. At least that's what I think. Now, maybe we would be running into situations where we would be running out of food and stuff like that, but I think the place is perfect. Just, you know, we can have continued growth and stay in this location for years. So transitioning to food, there were a couple of food trucks out there, as well as there were some small vendors around the area, like the walkway, that were selling all kinds of snacks and goodies and stuff. Now, here's the thing. I won't go too deep into this, but we'll just say I was in OKC the weekend before this happened, and we were told by an employee that, hey, the trolley that rides throughout the town, like, it's not going to be available. Like, I don't remember if they had to work on something or whatever, or some kind of maintenance, but they're like, this is not going to be available next weekend. So I was like, oh, so I'm pretty much just going to be stuck here and have to eat whatever's nearby. Or unless I want to take my car out of parking and go drive somewhere. But anyhow, it turned out that the trolley was actually available that weekend, which was awesome. Now, I do have to put one asterisk to all of the stuff I'm telling you. All pluses, right? Through and through. It was blazing outside. It was hot. It was really hot. It was very moist. Sorry for those people that don't like the word moist, but there is no other way to describe it, man. It was moist. Now, the next panel I had was the Saved by the Bell Q&A. Now, I'm going to say something that's very Ryofu-esque. If you're familiar with the channel, you've heard me say this a billion times. If you're new to the channel, let me just put it to you like this. I don't care what anybody says. This is my shit. This is what I loved when I was a kid. And you know what? I think far too many people act all goofy and weird and like awkward about stuff they liked when they were kids. I don't give a damn. That was my shit. I love Saved by the Bell. I'm not one of those, well, now I look at it, it's cringe, it's embarrassing. I don't give a damn about any of that. I loved this show when I was a kid. I loved it.
My name's Chris, I'm from Kansas City. And my wife and I, of course, were big fans of the show growing up, and it's been really fun to share the show with our kids as they've gotten a little older, as they've gotten to be kind of preteens and teenagers. What's your experience been like sharing the show with your kids? Have you done it, and what would you like to share about that experience? Because I was wondering what that was like for you.
My kids don't want to see me on TV at all. My wife's tried to get them to watch it just to there's your dad, and they're like, no, we're good. Then my mom has tried, so I don't know if they just get dad overload, but they have no interest in seeing it at all. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, same. My 4 kids, I mean, they're just like, oh yeah, cool. My son is kind of styling his hair a little bit like Zach Morris, so I'm telling him he has Zach Morris doing his hair for him, which is not every kid going to school can say that. But other than that, he's not impressed with anything else yeah.
So with Saved by the Bell, I mean, my son loves to watch everything about the show, even the reboot. Yeah, I mean, I don't let him watch everything I've done, but Saved by the Bell, he's allowed to watch
Let me know when you can watch, and I'll watch it with him.
Like a good uncle.
I'll be like his guide.
Now I know I'm gonna say something goofy here, but like one thing that kind of caught me by surprise was like Mark Paul. Even though I had seen recent interviews of him, he was like really low key and just really chill. Like I think even more chill than I was anticipating. And his humor was more on like the dry side. So he's not like this high energy dude. Not that I expected him to just like jump up out of his chair and you know, do like a Zack attack or anything. I'm just saying. But it was still like, it's just, I guess, a testament to show like how good of an actor he is that he's, you know, nothing like the characters that I've seen him play. Here is a pretty interesting clip where someone in the audience asked a question regarding the chemistry between Jesse and AC Slater.
Hi, my name's Lauren. I'm from Kansas City. I know Zach and Kelly were the it couple, smash takeaway, but AC Slater and Jesse were my jam, and I absolutely loved watching. You guys really bring the arts to TV. Not to take away from today's version of the arts, but dancing is really like clip by clip, and it's really edited, and TikTok has taken that so far, which is great. But as a dancer, I really appreciated seeing a lot of scenes, especially with you two, in one take, clean, cut, beautiful. I'd love it if you did something now, but you don't have to. But I would just love to know, was that part of like being casted? Because your guys' chemistry was also just so amazing too. So, but what I also love about film is sometimes things just naturally come out. Like, oh my gosh, we should have so many like dance scenes, like especially in the restaurant they go to. Or was it like random, or did you guys have to like have a dance background to get the parts to be a couple?
I want to sort of, you said that these two had chemistry. I did a podcast where I talked about that. I totally get what you're saying about them being a better couple than Zach and Kelly. No. I would watch the show because I did this podcast and we had to rewatch. You guys really did have like really good chemistry on the show. And I was like, it was fun to watch you guys. Because you guys would be in the background and be like giggling and touching each other and stuff like that. And Zach and Kelly never did that because I think also Tiffany always had her boyfriend on set. And so I was afraid to touch her. Like, I was like, let me just, is it okay if I do that? You know, because he was always there, remember that? You guys just had this like fun little banter always going. Like, no, I'm with you. The Slater and
That's
Jesse
really nice. I think we're the most immature. So I'm like a 5-year-old and she is too sometimes. So I think we bring that out of each other.
But
so we always have, even now, in my 50s, like, maybe I'm 8 years old now.
But in terms of like when we were cast, dance was not a prerequisite. It just, I think our writers were really good at paying attention, like watching us, you know, seeing us interact, all of us, and seeing and learning about us and what our natural talents were or things we were working on outside of filming. You know, I would be at dance class or he was at wrestling or, you know, like they would integrate things organically that they would witness in us, you know, or different dynamics, friendship dynamics. I mean, we've also always been close, and I think they brought some of that to the friendship of, you know, Jesse and Zach, and then, yeah, I think that was a gift of our writers, paying attention to what's in front of them, because to not use it would be, you know, would have been a shame.
And by the way, this is one of those that I paid for the professional picture. Like I said, no shame on my end. I don't give a damn. It was a good time. I love this panel. And like I said, being able to take a picture with all three of them, I'm going to say this right here, right now. Like, that is probably maximizing your bucks right there. If you're in a position where you can get a picture with multiple people at the same time, that's going to be worth the money, especially when it comes to getting the professional picture, as opposed to if you were to go to each individual person. And I'm not sure exactly how much they were charging for selfies, but it could be like 50 a piece, or it could have been 60 a piece. Who knows? Now, before we go any further, I would like to share some of those differences I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So a good example would be like for a convention like this, a regular 3-day pass might be like 120 or something like that. So if you want like the ultimate package, which I believe this is what most of my friends got, it was a 3-day pass with like a lanyard, a pin, a poster, a bag, a 10% discount on Galaxycon merchandise, which unfortunately I did not capitalize on because I just ran out of time, because I wouldn't have mind buying a shirt of the con. But anyways, altogether that was like about $150. And if you would have just got a regular standard 3-day pass, it would have been like $120, like roughly like $30 cheaper, something like that. Now, if I was going to an anime convention, see, the dynamics kind of change a little bit, because now you might be paying $80 to $90 for a standard pass. But then if you want like a lot of anime conventions will have like a banquet or something, they might charge you up to $150 and you'll get all that into one. Or they might just separate. I've noticed other conventions doing everything separately. Like, okay, pay for your $80 badge. Okay, banquet, $40. Or this tea thing, it's going to be $25. Which, I'll be frank with you, I don't really know if I'm a fan of just separating everything. It just feels like a lot of DLC is being thrown at me, bro. I'm being real with you. The other factor to keep in mind is that, yes, this gets you into the convention. You're allowed to shop. You're allowed to go to panels and stuff. But you're still going to have to pay separately for autographs, for pictures. And when it comes to pictures that are like selfies that they're taking with your cell phone, that stuff you'll have to wait in line and get it done at their booth. Same thing if you want them to autograph a movie or a video game. However, now going back to that professional picture, the professional picture, you're going to have to get that done. You're going to have to do a little preparation, we'll say. So you have to purchase and reserve your place in line online. I would say in the grand scheme of things, it allows everything to run much smoother. So you do have to pay online for that. Whereas the selfie picture and the autographs, you're kind of paying cash at the booth of whatever guest you're trying to get at. So I definitely feel like going to a convention like this, I feel like I need a combination of I need cash on me, but I also need to have a card at the ready. Let's dig even more into that professional picture. So when you're getting that professional picture, what's even more fascinating is how they have this all organized. Because you're paying to be in a place in line, and then you're supposed to be there at a certain time. And it is like an assembly line. They're knocking them out left and right. So in other words, if you have a speech, if you want to say a corny joke, it's not going to happen here. So it's going to be, oh, hello, what's your name? Oh, hey, I'm Ryofu. Click, next. And then, oh, who are you? I'm Joe. Click, next. And then, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, hey, click. Oh, hey, click. Just, it's going fast. One of my friends made the joke, like, they're moving us around like we're cattle. And I mean, actually, it's funny. It's kind of mean, but it's funny. And I mean, truthfully, for anyone that's put off with me wording it that way, let me tell you something. I have been at many anime conventions where they have a Japanese guest, they have maybe someone big, or they have a Japanese music artist, and then the first 10 people are like just straight BSing, like just sucking up everyone else's time because they have this story they have to share with this person, and then they're getting emotional, and then they're crying, and then, yeah. Guys, let me tell you, I need to save this for another time, but I'm going to share this here. So there was even one time I was in line. First of all, there were several times I was in line for 2 hours, and I got nothing. They cut off the line ahead of me, and they said, sorry, this is all we can do right now. Sorry. But there was one time the person in front of me got cut off. And so we're standing up there, and she is bawling. This chick is bawling. And then they said, all right, come on. Okay, go. And now I'm standing there like a doofus. So is that what I got to do? It wasn't happening. I didn't have it in me. I couldn't do it. Couldn't pull it off. But I'm saying all this to say, me seeing us move around like cattle, I was very grateful for. Because to me, this is the way I look at it. I get in line, I am guaranteed my picture. I'm guaranteed that. I paid for that, and I'm getting it. When I think back to those moments where I waited in line, it was iffy. I didn't know. I didn't know if the person that was the very first person in line, if they were going to tell their life story to the celebrity. And there was no way to know if you were going to make it or not. So really the only thing you could do back then was just show up 45 minutes early or something. That's really it, if you wanted it that bad. And that's kind of around the time, honestly, when I started stepping away from autographs and all this other stuff, and I started focusing more on panels and actually going to events. So they print you off a 8x10 picture, and then you also get a digital download. That's pretty nice. And they have like just a sea of printers, like just going off, just churning out these pictures. It was pretty hilarious, but they know what they're doing. Like I said, they got it like an assembly line. It's impressive. What was the panel that stole the show? Let me tell you. Lou Diamond Phillips killed it. Lou Diamond Phillips was like, was the thing that the last person we expected to just like dominate, and he killed it. So, and here's another layer to that. He wasn't even a guest until like last minute. Crazy. He literally said in the panel, like, I got a phone call a couple days ago and they said, hey, you doing anything this weekend? Why don't you come to Galaxycon? And he said, I ain't doing nothing. Sure, I'll come by. And I'm glad he did, because his stories were hilarious. I didn't realize this guy did so many impressions. All of them were funny, especially the Antonio Banderas one.
How you doing? So sorry, I'm still reeling over that story. So my question is on two projects you did. One of them is the 33. You got to work with Antonio Banderas, I believe, and a future Marvel star who would be the villain in Black Panther 2. Yes. And and then Tenoch. And then, so how was it like working on that film with the film's director, Patricia Regan, who rare, you have a female director working on a project like this. So how was it like working with her? And then I'll ask you my second question afterwards.
All right, first of all, thank you for asking that, because I love that film. I love that film. It was underseen. I don't think the studio promoted it the way they should have. It's about the Chilean miners who were trapped in the collapse in 2010. True story. And Antonio Banderas is the lead. Julia Binoche, the most international cast I've ever worked with. Gabriel Byrne, Rodrigo Santoro. I mean, just Tenoch Huerta, who goes on to do the second Black Panther. An amazing group of people. Twice in my career, I've had to lose weight for a role, and that was one of them. So I lost like 15 pounds, and like Patricia Regan calls, and she goes, hey, how's the diet going? I'm like, it's going good, it's great. She goes, I need you to put the weight back on. I said, what? She goes, yeah, one of our sets burned down. We have to change the schedule, So, yeah, and we really shot it in 2 salt mines just outside of Bogota, Colombia, and then also in the Atacama Desert in Chile, for the exteriors. And it was literally, if you're not a method actor, they force you to be a method actor, because the hotel was a truck stop with, like gaps in the door in the winter. We shot in November, December, January, February, and I slept in clothes, and you were not always guaranteed hot water in the morning, and they were covering us in the sweat and they would airbrush the ribs in and everything else, and just to totally give you that that illusion. But I have to say, I mean, Antonio Banderas was just so wonderful. I ended up doing a Disney show called Elena of Avalor. And the voice that I use in that is my Antonio Banderas voice. You know, I spent many months with Antonio Banderas in a mine, in a cave, and we were shirtless. And they would oil Antonio Banderas up. And I will say to you, ladies, I get it. I understand. You know, standing close to Antonio Banderas and he starts talking to you. And he says, Lou, for this scene, we're going to be very intimate. And I'm like, Antonio, I cannot wait.
You should definitely check out the TikTok I made where he shares a Longmire story. Absolutely hilarious. Now, I could put it on YouTube, but I try to make it worthwhile to follow me in different places. But yeah, I mean, that story is amazing. That story is amazing. So please check that out. I was also able to get like a really good seat. I was right up front. It was awesome. Such a good time. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying the video, which I'm sure you are, you got to be, right? Please give it a like. Give it a like. We need to get them likes up. One of the non-celeb panels I went to was VTuber Talks, learning about the space. This panel was done by Bibly Darling. Shout out to her, by the way, because let me tell you, this was an adorable panel. And this was essentially, the actual VTuber was there. She had a mask on, and I get it. She was all incognito and whatnot, but she was there to explain what it's like starting as a VTuber. And obviously, if you're a VTuber, and even if you want a decent look, your upstart is gonna be, I guess you could say, costly. I don't know any other way to say it nicely. It could be expensive for sure. It is what it is. There are ways, and she did show that there are ways to go in, save a little cash. But the bottom line is, if this is something you really want to do and you're going for a certain look, you're gonna have to pay the cash for it. There's no way around that. But it was really awesome because she also had some of her friends that recorded videos, and then she shared those with everyone at the panel, and they're giving their pointers and sharing some personal experiences and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. That was even, some of that information was even helpful for me.
I just got clothes that I would normally wear, and I just color corrected them so that they would all fit like a cohesive outfit, because I use VTubing as a means to express myself anonymously on the internet. I don't really play a character outside of all the fantasy elements that you see. I just like to keep my privacy. So what you see is literally what you get, outside of obviously the antlers and the bunny ears. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Yay, thank you, Sin. Can we get no clappy claps? Yay. Thank you.
So why do we do it? Well, for some it is a hobby, to educate others or to inform. And for others, it's like an aspect of privacy. Like for me, why I'm wearing a face mask is because I don't want you to see my real face, just because I'm a VTuber on the internet. I lost my spot. Right. Like Iron Mouse. Iron Mouse just to spread awareness about important diseases and disabilities. I think for a good cause. And several other VTubers like to do like consistent streams to raise money for charity and spread awareness about disabilities and important things out there. And for some people it is just for money, but there are so many reasons. He's not a VTuber, but trust him.
Evan, and I was asked what the keys to success in VTubing are, and while I don't necessarily believe that there are keys to success, I do think that there are key aspects that you can do to succeed in any medium, and particularly in VTubing. I think one of the major things that a lot of VTubers do is they don't focus enough on YouTube. Now, if you're wondering who I am a YouTuber myself. I mean, that's my clip right up there. I've been making videos about VTubers for the past 4 years, and particularly, I've just kind of been reacting to them, highlighting, you know, maybe smaller YouTubers, maybe ones that I like a little bit more. But I think a lot of YouTubers, they will go live and hit that go live button on stream and not necessarily focus too much on producing content for a wider audience. Because when you hit go live, people don't necessarily know who you are, unless of course you are outputting that content to a larger audience. If you're especially streaming on Twitch, no one will ever really know who you are, because Twitch doesn't really have an algorithm for people to be able to find you. But if you're making videos, and one thing that I suggest a lot of YouTubers do is, when I personally go live on Twitch, I will, you know, maybe sometimes have like 50 to 100 viewers, and I will go live with the intention to make a YouTube video that can then go on to get like 15,000 to like 200,000 views in some cases. So no one will know who you are unless you literally go live with intent. I think that like that alone could help so many YouTubers find an audience that absolutely likes them. Because at the end of the day, if you're just focusing on streaming, which don't get me wrong, you know, streaming is fun, but if your only goal is to go live, then I don't necessarily think that you can succeed without having the other side of it, which is YouTube, and getting a wider audience that way. Because at least YouTube has an algorithm for you, whereas Twitch does not. I really do hope that helps.
So yeah, good job on the panel, Bibbly darling. Now it is time to talk about the disappointment. So there were 2 people I missed out on. Ooh, yeah, and one of them is a doozy. So the first one, Giancarlo Esposito. I did go to his panel. We'll talk about that in a second. But unfortunately, I was not able to get a picture or get autographs from this man, which is disappointing to say the least. But, you know, it's a combination of me seeing someone and I'm like, ooh, their line isn't that long, so let me slither my way over there. I just never caught Mr. Giancarlo, unfortunately, and Shermy Lee. Now, here's the thing with Shermy Lee. I never saw her once. And oddly enough, she is someone that I got an autograph from like maybe 12, 14 years ago. And I don't even remember what it was from. But I remember it was at Akon, and she was probably one of the guests that I sat with one year. And she's really sweet, super nice. Now, I do want to say this. The 2 reasons why I wanted Shermy Lee's autograph was for her work in Persona 5. She was Mokoto. And her work in Cyberpunk 2077. Because the thing is, I have kind of built up a little collection of autographs from Persona 5 voice actors. I'll show that for you now because I was able to get the autograph of the guy that played Ryuji, Max Middleman.
Not with noise, but with presence. He doesn't just play characters, he inhabits them. Please welcome the incredible, the precise, the powerhouse, Giancarlo Esposito!
Good to see you on Oklahoma! OKC, we love you!
Thunder up! Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Now, regarding Giancarlo Esposito's panel, his panel was pretty solid. I will say that his was more on the serious side, and I don't mean serious as in boring. He was very engaging, but serious as in he was just all about like taking care of yourself, mental health, and, you know, doing something that inspires you and motivates you. Don't ever lose that curiosity with yourself, you know, and I really appreciate, you know, when people talk to you this way, when they're really passionate about just connecting with people. And you could tell that that's definitely what he was doing here. He was connecting with a lot of people, getting a lot of cheers from everyone. Quite a few interesting conversations. I will put some of those up for you now.
My children, I think, inspire me a lot, but the world inspires me. As an actor, I'm an observer, right? I observe people, right? I love coming to Comic-Con because when you come to a Comic-Con, you meet people from all walks of life, all different ages, who are in wonder, enchantment, and joy When do you get a chance to experience that on a daily basis? My reminder is, take this experience with you during the week so that you understand that it's wonderful to be unjaded as that of a child. It's wonderful to have an imagination. It's wonderful to have people recognize that imagination, and it's wonderful to be seen living in that space. Because we sometimes think that to grow up and be responsible and to show up is to always be a certain way. You can be silly, you can have fun, you can be inspired, right? That's really an important part of life that I remind myself as an adult when all the responsibilities of my life, start to choke me, that it really should be fun, right? That's the whole part of it that I think some of us, including myself, leave behind. And whenever I find myself leaving behind, I go back and recapture it. So my kids have really inspired me in all of their great moments, in all of their traumatic moments, in all of their turmoil. I mean, I have 4 daughters, so there's a lot of responsibility to any child. But to 4 daughters, I mean, I feel like the females are really creative, and they're a little bit, not to discount male children or any male at all, but are a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to the way they communicate, their artistry. They're just a little bit further ahead because they're female. That's what they have. They have that kind of chemical creation within them. So because I have 4, I'm very inspired by all of them.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all. Yeah.
Thanks, Daniel. One aspect of the movie, Do the Right Thing, that is so impactful is that we see the main conflict from all sides. Spike Lee even says on the director's commentary that your character, Bugging Out, and Sal both have good points on who belongs on his wall of fame. My question is, playing a character so central to the conflict of the movie, and as a Black Italian yourself, was there any additional perspective you could bring to the movie, or did it influence your character at all?
Yeah, there was a great amount I could bring to the movie because I am in that exact mixture. My father's from Naples, Italy. My mother's from Alabama. I'm a Black Italian. And so for me, it was ironic to be put in that role to learn something. At that time, Spike was so anti-white, it was unbelievable. And I'm standing right in the middle of that fire. He would say to me, Giancarlo, if there's a race war, what side you gonna be on? Ha ha ha! He'd start laughing like uncontrollably, and like, answer me. And I would say I'd be on the side of humanity. So I brought a lot to that character because I love my Italian side and honor that. I go to Italy every year, but I also love where I stand as a Black man in America, which is, an interesting space to be in that unless you're in that skin, you don't know. Just like I don't know what it's like to be in one of my daughter's skins. You don't know until you live it. But then you have to either choose to represent it or choose to help yourself and other people to grow through that, right? Because many people who are prejudiced against become angry. You're angry, you're treated a certain way. And when you can greet anger with love, and you can transmute that energy within yourself. So when I finally dropped being an angry Black man, my life changed. My characters changed. My humanity changed. I wasn't buying into the label that people would put on me. But that's personal work that you have to do to change your life. Thank you. You're welcome.
Now, I will say there is one TikTok I have where he talks about getting asked to play a certain role, and it's similar to another role that he did, and you already know what role I'm talking about. And he actually has a great response to this, so please check that out on TikTok. Now, it should be pretty easy at this point to tell how I felt about my experience these 2 days. It was a really, really good time. I went from being just a fan, loving the convention space, to now I'm recording them and presenting them to people on YouTube, to now I go to this non-anime convention, this Comic-Con, and it really reinvigorates my love for conventions. And if you're wondering why, it's because I realized I was at a point where I'm trying to get enough footage, but I'm also like, oh man, I got to get Giancarlo's autograph. Oh man, I got to do this. What about Danny Trejo? Oh man. And it's a good feeling. It's not a bad feeling. Yeah, there's a little pressure because you're trying to figure out what's, what you want to do. But it was a good kind of pressure. I'm really glad that I decided to go to Galaxycon this year, and I can't wait to see where this goes. There's so much space, so much potential for it to be even bigger and better year by year. I'm gonna add one more thing to this, okay? My bad. I'm gonna add one more thing to this, that as you guys know, all the problems and issues that have happened with Akon. And then, as you know, everything that happened with Anime Fest going away. So, you know, trying to fill that void, you just don't know what to do. And such is life. You don't get exactly what you want to, this is the ultimate thing to replace what has just left me. It doesn't happen that way. But discovering this convention and really enjoying it, and then me returning, because it had been like several years since I had been to Tokyo OK, me returning to Tokyo OK last year and having a good time and realizing, yeah, this is a pretty good convention. It reminds me of when AzumiCon was at its peak. That's what it reminds me of. And when you think about that, and then Anime Oklahoma is bursting onto the scene, gaining some traction, gaining some momentum. Yeah, I like all three of these. And it's cool that they're in Oklahoma. That's mad cool. Now, I do eventually want to find some absolute fire conventions in Texas, because, you know, that's where I started, of course, because of Akon. And also, too, there were other conventions that are no longer around that I used to go to in Texas. But yeah, we need to get that jump started already. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate you. Please drop a like, give me a thumbs up. Let me know how I'm doing. As always, I appreciate you watching the video to the very end. I'll see you next time.